It's been quite a while since we met last.
Hi Deepa, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Very well.
I think we start.
How many years has it been?
I think 2 or 3.
No, I think at least 4 years. 3 years, 4 years. I don't know. Time passes.
Time passes by.
We don't even feel. We don't even know.
We don't even know, really.
Yeah.
So let's start by talking of the Kalagoda festival, which I think you've been involved with almost from the start.
Yeah. Now it's going to be in its 17th year. This festival, the Kalagoda festival, and I think I've been there since more than 15 years, maybe 16. I don't even know. And let me tell you, when I started, I didn't know a thing about not theatre or music or dance or cinema, but now I think I know quite a bit. And it's more out by default than anything else. Of course, even now, if you ask me, I don't know much about the names of the performers or the performances, but I can definitely tell you what is good and what is not good, because I've become, like you, a critic of sorts. You are, of course, an expert at this. So, your stint with cinema at Kalagoda Arts Festival, at that time you used to write about cinema, I think.
Yes, I still do actually.
You still write, right?
Yeah.
And it was, I think, just on the basis of the fact that I read your name in the paper every week, giving that review, and I used to read those reviews, and I suggested to somebody, why don't we get Deepa to do the, film critic, the film curator role at Kalagoda Festival, and you agreed, and it was wonderful. Of course, I think we all had a very good time doing that.
Yes, we did actually.
And then, of course, things changed a bit, and then somehow, I don't know, the management changed, so we had different curators, if you remember. But I also remember thinking, I wish I had asked you to do the theatre.
Yes.
And then I was considering that at some point for you to do theatre, because someone suggested various names, and somehow I met, I think at that point I met Nadira Babbar. Or actually, I think Aditya Hitkari, sorry.
Yes.
He was doing
it earlier, yeah, that's right.
He was doing it, and he was still there even when you left. And there was somebody suggested Nadira, and I met her, and she was very, very enthused about the whole thing. And then Juhi Babbar joined in. And since this conversation is about women, let me tell you that Juhi is doing a great job of theatre. And as I was telling someone, she is, that's one thing about us women. I think what we have very right about us is that we are very well organized in a sort of housewifely way, or, we know how to put something before the other thing, and how to arrange how to even do budgets.
How to work schedules and budgets,
exactly.
And soothe over things when, feathers are ruffled.
Yeah, so I think we're pretty good at that.
Yeah,
and I think that's the reason why I'm also there at Kalagoda, because at the festival, because I'm very organized. I reply to mails. I'm very, very approachable, and also budgets are something I treat my festival like as if I'm running my home. So I think that also works very well. But tell me about yourself, Deepa. What are you busy with? I know. How did you get into NCPA, first of all?
I think it's because for many years I had been writing about films and theatre. I'd written a couple of books as well, including Prithviwala's, which was a history of Prithvi Theatre.
Yeah.
And I think it's been about 5 years.
Yeah.
And at that point, Mr. Santuk, who's the chairman of the NCPA, was looking for people to head different verticals, because he felt that all the genres should be looked after by one dedicated vertical head and their independent team, rather than having one person looking after everything. And they wanted someone who could handle theatre and film. And since I had some degree of expertise in both the fields, I came in and took it up. And I'll be honest, I had been working independently for so long, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to fit into an organizational setup.
Is it a job? Is it a 9-to-5 situation? Or is it
it's not actually, because it's 24/7. You know how it is. You can't shut down at any point and say, okay, now I'm not thinking about my work, because
you go home and think about it too.
You can't, because answering mails and taking phone calls, and if there's a problem, people will call you at midnight and tell you, well, you know, what to do about this.
I know.
You can't actually shut down. You can, in fact, I don't think I've ever had a day off.
In fact, my family gets very upset with me because during the festival I don't switch off at all, and I don't sleep well too because of the various whatever. There always the stress which I have to take on. So quite often they ask me you know, do you have to really do this? And I do it honorarily, so that makes it more difficult for them to accept that. But I must say now that my girls are grown up, and I think we are first, we have to look after the home. That's what, you know, at the back of, even though my husband is extremely supportive, I think the role of the woman is first in the house, but at the same time he's very, very, you know, understanding. But I must say, around the festival time, he really makes life miserable for me also. Doesn't make it any easier. He keeps saying, no, give it up, give it up, give it up. You're going through too much stress. And it's more a concern for me. I don't know how it is for you at home or...
Yeah, I'm lucky in the sense that I don't have to bother about family in that sense. I mean, no children's exam, they said I don't have children. I'm happily single. But there's still the problem or the responsibility of looking after parents,
Yeah.
who are pretty independent, so they don't really need constant looking after. But then that guilt is always there that I'm leaving them alone for so long and stuff like that. They put up with all my, you know, eccentricities and obsession with my work. The only thing my mother has now started insisting on is that I don't bring the cell phone to the dining table.
Yeah.
She said, okay, 15 minutes you can sit and have a conversation with us.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm always on the phone, I'm always, you know, or preoccupied or busy or running somewhere, you know, rushing back from somewhere tired. And so she's at least at 15 minutes, you know, a day you can give to us. So.
But at the same time, I think they're very proud that we are doing what we are doing, and we are doing it well, and we're successful at whatever we are doing. I think my girls have grown up now so much that they want to help me, and I think I see that they might even want to take it over, you know, when they're older. They're showing signs of you know, stepping into my shoes, and I think that's a great sign. Also, at the festival, I have so many women helping me. I think they all have day jobs. It's fantastic how this works because they all have day jobs, and they take leave or they come, you know, in the evening to help, or even they start working 2 months before. There are of course a couple of people who are dedicated to the festival, but during the year we have no one in the office. We have 2 people, but towards you know, coming towards the festival, we have so many women, and they are the driving forces behind, and we are all like family, you know.
Yeah.
And we get together and we eat together, and it's like a community of women. So I think it's a great thing that, you know, service that they are doing, because a lot of them are voluntary. They do not want money for it. They just want to do it for the city and for the arts, of course, which we have so little of, as you know. So that's the other problem we have. Do you agree that we have so little of theatre? But also, I also feel that at least Mumbai for theatre is not too bad. Do you think?
Actually, Mumbai is not too bad for the arts in general. In terms of being able to attract an audience when there's something which is worthwhile. What I feel Mumbai is lacking, or rather India is lacking, but I'm using Mumbai as an example, is the kind of support that the arts need we are not getting.
From the government?
Either from the government or from the corporate sector. Agree. And at least in Bombay we have the advantage that the audiences are willing to pay for tickets.
Yeah.
You know, in Delhi and stuff, people say, oh my God, we are supposed to watch a play and buy a ticket.
Yeah.
So over here, people respect the arts in the sense that, okay, they're willing to, you know, spend money on a ticket or buy a painting.
I think the Mumbai audience is fantastic.
Yeah, they are actually.
The ones that we get at the festival also, I mean, everything is for free, and they are so disciplined and they watch with such interest. There are so many boring programs which they love, which I find that obviously that they're not getting to watch these things. There's not enough support from the government. We have absolutely no support.
None at all, yeah.
None at all. And we have, you know, fighting with the police, we are fighting with, of course we are also not bribing anybody, that's the other thing. So it becomes even more difficult to get something done. Difficult as in, at the same time we feel very proud that we are not doing all those things. And of course your setup is very different. My setup is very different. Mine is a very public kind of setup where everybody is invited, everyone just walks into a program, whether it's theatre, whether it's cinema. And I do find that one of the most popular sections at the festival, besides music and dance, is theatre. Also, I think theatre is like becoming more popular than dance, in my opinion, and which is quite a good sign, I feel. It's a healthy sign for theatre.
I think the advantage you have is with the Kalagoda festival is that one, because the shows are free, people come from all over the city and they want to enjoy the ambiance and and they can come into the city for those days and do a lot of things, watch a play, watch a movie, shop, eat.
Yeah.
So it becomes a kind of a community thing during those days.
Yeah.
And I think we need to do that a lot more in the city. And I think
Yes.
we have a lot of spaces in the city which should be used for
Yes.
cultural purposes, which are unable to do
Yeah.
because of the huge bureaucracy involved, as you know. I mean, to
Yes.
get permissions for anything, you have to, I think, get half a dozen, licenses and permissions
Yes.
for a performing arts center, which
Yes.
is meant for performing arts. If you were to do this in a area which is not a venue for performing arts,
Yeah.
you have to go through a whole lot of things. At the end of it, you wonder if it's worthwhile.
Yes, exactly. You need really some big sponsor to support all this, and you need people who are dedicated to do all this. It's a combination of those two things. Otherwise, it just cannot happen.
Yeah.
And I was, of course, in the Thane for that Upwan festival, and somebody said it's very nice. You must come. So I went to see it because it was only in its second year or third year or something. And it was really beautiful location. It was very, very nice. But and I asked them, I said, how did you get permissions for this? So they said it was very easy. We got it in a day's time. And the reason being that a politician was funding the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
So, it's not, it's other people who cannot do this very easily. And on the other hand, you feel, and yet the quality of the festival was, of course, not that great. Maybe it's a new festival, it will catch on. But, and a lot of money had been spent on it. I think maybe, we kind of don't spend that much money on our festival. But the reason being, it's an old festival and people want to perform for us for 5,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees. So it's a different sort of setup, and I guess there's no comparison. But again, that festival was run by a lot of women. So again, getting back to women, doing these things, I think we are more kind of creative.
I think also when it comes to the arts, and when I say the arts, I mean arts, the performing arts, literature, music and dance, there seems to be a leveler playing field for women than it is maybe in the corporate sector or politics or bureaucracy, because you find more and more women coming ahead in these fields.
But why do you think that is? Do you think it's because women are better at it, or do you think that women have more time for it? Or do
I
you
think one, that women are better, and two, if I may say, it's a bit negative, but it's not where the money is. So wherever there's big money involved, where there's a film industry or politics or industry, they say the men want to take over. But okay, there's not much money, and it's okay. They're not threatening us in any way if they're doing this. But then the minute that happens, women start excelling in these fields also.
That's true. I guess it's also, I think women are also now excelling in other fields.
In other fields.
which do attract money also.
Yes, but not as much. I mean, in terms of percentage.
No, not as much.
There are fewer women
But I think the
politicians
ratio is kind of narrowing in the whole
not so much
differences.
in politics and industry and stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
More in the field of the arts. And like I said, when I'm saying arts, I'm meaning it in a broad-based term. So
Yeah, that's true.
I
But
mean,
I think theatre has a lot of...
theatre has a lot of them, there's no money. Where film, where there is money, you have hardly any female
if
directors.
at the top of my head, if I had to think of big names in theatre, most of them are women. Like, I'm just saying, even if it's a Lilith Dubey or a Rayal Padamsee, they may be at different ends of the spectrum or rainbow, but they are still, those are the names that you think of immediately. So, or, on the other hand, of course, there's a Rahul Dakunia, or there are men, of course, who are. And there are so many actors and actresses who have come from theatre.
A lot more talented actresses and actors.
Lot
I think,
more
in theatre,
actresses,
because
yes.
I think theatre offers them the kind of roles and the variety of roles which cinema doesn't offer them. I mean, the women, once they've crossed like 30 or 35, cinema gives them nothing.
Yeah,
in terms
that's
of
true.
challenges, but theatre does.
Yeah.
You know,
Say
so
like
I
a
think
Lilith
a lot
Dubey.
more.
Or,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
She can do a lot more, variety of work in theatre.
Theatre.
It may not be paying, but it's satisfying at some level.
That's so true.
There's so
yes.
many talented actresses who, because of their appearance or age or whatever, they can't get into films, but they're so talented, and the only outlet that they can have for that talent is the theatre.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think television has kind of also taken, is connected to theatre in any way? Do you think any?
Marginally, to the extent that some of the theatre talent is being picked up by television, but then their talent is not being utilized, in the
Yeah,
right way. Because
I
if you
felt
see
that
the
too.
kind of the TV that we are making, I mean, women who are in personal life or in their theatre work, doing strong and independent, kind of roles or living independent lives,
Yeah.
immediately have to get into this whole, ethnic setup and start playing saas bahus, in those serials, and
Yeah.
you feel it's a waste.
Yeah, it
and
is
then
a
sometimes
waste.
you see these actresses in the serial and they're wearing these lehenga cholis and jewelry and this, that, and you see
Yeah.
them outside of the role and they're wearing shorts and t-shirts, and I say, are you the same person?
I know.
So, they're being
20-year-olds are
forced
playing
into-
40 and 50-year-olds. Yes,
More
I
than
know.
that, I mean, you have 25-year-olds playing grandmothers and stuff, and I'm saying, what
And
is
they
going
shoot
on?
from morning to night to morning to night, and like
It's like
48
a
hours a
factory.
day. It's like a factory.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I also feel that a lot of cinema actresses who haven't made it in cinema, who haven't made it on television or wherever, are taking to theatre.
Like I
Who
said,
flopped,
where
yeah.
would you have an
I mean, even
outlet
if
for
they're
your
young,
talent?
I'm not
if
saying
you,
talking about just
yeah.
age, but
Yeah.
even those who haven't made it. So, does that mean that the theatre is the okay? Like we didn't get in here, we didn't get in there, so we've got into theatre. You think?
I think if they want to act, if they're looking at acting as a calling and not just a career, and they want to play interesting parts, and I think theatre is where it's at. And not necessarily because they haven't succeeded in films. I mean,
Not
people
necessarily, yeah.
like Shabana Azmi is still doing theatre, and she's successful. Neena Gupta has just come back to do a play.
Yeah.
So I think it's the urge to do something more challenging that is driving them to theatre, and also that the audience is now responding to this kind of stuff. They don't see theatre as an elite kind of activity. Now
Yeah.
they're starting to see theatre as a popular option
That's true.
for an evening out or for a weekend out.
That's true. I'd say the same about male actors too. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
like
of course,
Nasiruddin
of course.
or
Yeah.
also doing both. They're doing
They are
cinema
doing both,
and they're doing
yes,
theatre, and I think that takes quite a bit of.
Yeah, it does. But Nasiruddin
Work.
Shah is an exception. I mean, for him, theatre is a passion, and he does films to, I think, fund that passion.
Anupam Kher or
Anupam Kher,
Om Puri.
Nasir is the kind of person who would actually give up a film if he had an interesting play to do. Nobody else would do it.
Really?
I know people who actually,
Would you say someone like Shabana would do that?
Shabana actually is so committed that she wouldn't take up something if she didn't have the time. But other people would, and the minute they got a film or a television serial, they would dump the play. It's been known to happen, and I don't resent it because that's where the money is, and
Yeah.
people in Mumbai have to make a living.
That's
It's an
true.
expensive city to live in.
Yeah.
So it is difficult to make money out of theatre unless you're doing a very big production or you're doing a comedy or something where
Yeah.
people are willing to pay large sums of money. But on the other hand, it's getting increasingly difficult to do experimental work. I mean, truly experimental work.
The Kalagoda festival, I felt this year we had a lot of experimentation in terms of languages. And of course, a lot of theatre had, we had, about 20 languages. I mean Parsi Gujarati, Urdu, we had a Rajasthani play, we had two South Indian plays, we had Tamil play. And it was quite a strange thing to see the audience. It was a huge audience. Of course, I don't get to see anything
Yeah.
because I'm so busy. But I believe this is what I just go from venue to venue every evening and see what's happening. And the popularity of these things is quite a bit. There was one particular play where there was this woman who was cooking saag meat.
Saag media, Seema Pava's play.
Yes. And of course, I don't get to know these things till I actually go to the festival or I see it in the program and then I understand it. So I went and saw, and it was quite an interesting thing.
Yeah, we had it here as well as part of our festival last year. That's one of those interesting and unusual things because she cooks it and then she serves the food and stuff.
and
Yeah,
all. That
yeah,
is very
that's-
interesting.
but
So
again,
one of the, I must say, the yardsticks for selecting theatre is, oh, but it was shown at the NCPA. So you must be very proud that people think that way. Or the same way people say, oh, but it was we we had a theatre performance at the Kalagoda Arts Festival. So it's become one of those prestigious things to be showing at one of our,
It
on
is
one of our
actually-
stages.
It is.
Whether it's the NCPA or it's like in the earlier days, I think people used to start off at the Prithvi, again run by Sanjana, who's a woman
Yeah.
at that time, and
And her mother Jennifer
and her
before
mother
Yeah.
before her.
Yeah.
So, and you know the history, of course. You've done that book on the Prithvi theatre. So we used to go all the way there, all the way to Juhu. Even in those days, there was so much traffic.
Yeah.
But we used to go all the way to watch, any of those new plays. And I remember taking even my little girls when they were little to a children's play all the way there, and they were cribbing. But once we saw the play, it was, a great experience, and they said, let's go back. So sometimes, one thinks that people need more exposure. Maybe.
I think that's you've actually hit it on the head right now, because I think unless children are exposed to varied forms of cultural
Yeah.
experience, they're not going to suddenly grow up and start
Exactly.
appreciating
So at
things.
the festival, what we are trying to do is give children a greater kind of exposure. Also, we're doing many workshops with children, even
we
in
do
theatre.
that too. We do that too during summer
Especially
vacations.
theatre.
Yeah.
I mean, they are very used to doing the art workshops and the painting workshops. But I think theatre needs, the next generation is actually going to be the audience. So it might as well be children. Might as well expose them from now. And like I said, if I took my girls there and after that they were hooked. So it's one way to kind of grow the audience. Is target children, I think, and I think you'll agree with me on that.
Yeah,
also.
we have a summer fiesta program during the summer vacations, where we have
Yeah.
workshops across genres. But I think more than theatre, because theatre comparatively is accessible.
Yeah,
I think children need to be exposed also to the classical arts and to art, as in painting, because
painting. I think there are lots of workshops all over the city
no,
during
I think they
the
should
vacation.
be taken to see.
That is true, like the art galleries
and
and-
stuff like that. I
yeah.
remember some years ago when I was at the Louvre. And this was some years ago, and I saw a whole bunch of children had been brought into the Louvre, and they made to sit in front of one of the iconic paintings,
Yeah.
and said, okay, now sit and paint your impressions of this.
Yeah.
And you had this whole bunch of children sitting down, and over here, if you take children into an art gallery, you say, no, don't go there, no, don't
Yeah,
touch this,
no,
don't do this.
yeah.
But just let children be exposed to these things,
Yeah, I
and
agree.
have art appreciation classes in school, or
I think children don't have the patience nowadays. I think that's something that
it's
they
something that
just
needs
see
to be
everything online.
cultivated. They need to be
Online.
cultivated, yeah.
And I think it's up to the mothers and up to the parents to also, I don't know, as much as one can do. Whereas my kids, of course, I expose them because I'm part of the art scene in any case. But people who don't know anything about, really don't know anything about art, and they don't even want, expose their children to it. I think classical dance is something that's really suffering.
Classical music and dance.
Classical music is suffering
I think
even
children
more.
should be taken to, and the parents can't do it because nowadays parents are busy, have careers, this and the other. I think schools should take the responsibility. And if children can't be taken to a venue to watch, I think they should have people coming and talking to them or giving them little appreciation courses. And again, I'll give you an example of a Kathak workshop that I saw at Prithvi Theatre. It was a performance, and they had a lot of children. It was during the summer, and they kind of involved the children, and they made it very interactive. And they said, "Okay, children, come on the stage and see what we're doing." And because of Kathak, they did a whole thing about Holi, and how Holi and Kathak, movement and the music and all. At the end of it, when they were walking out, I heard children say, "Mummy, I want to learn Kathak." So if one encounter
Absolutely.
does this, if they were regularly exposed to it,
Yeah.
some of them might even start looking at a career in the performing arts.
So the Symphony Orchestra, moving away from children, the Symphony Orchestra of India, they had a outdoor performance at the Kalagoda Festival.
Yes, which was packed.
which was packed, and I believe the NCPA can't stop talking about it as their one of their best performances that
but
they've had.
Mr. Santok is passionate about Western music, and
That's
it's
true.
because of him that the SOI is,
That's
has
true.
reached where it has.
Yeah, that's true. So again, that had so many foreigners actually, and so many women. I was quite surprised to see that it was mostly foreigners, the SOI, and it's of course patronage of the NCPA that would allow such a thing to happen, because these things are not easy to sustain.
Yeah.
You can't sustain
can't,
something
yeah.
like this. So I wish there would be more such sponsors or more supporters of all the various arts,
Yeah.
and especially, of course, theatre and dance and music. I think has a lot of support actually.
It does actually.
Relatively.
Also the thing with
Cinema
music,
has too much
cinema
support.
has too much support to the extent that it is drowning everything else. But music is also something that, at a pinch, I mean, you would not be deprived of it if you didn't go to a concert, because you could still listen to it at home.
Yeah.
But to get the whole theatre experience or classical dance experience, you have to be at the venue. You know,
Exactly.
watching a play. Of course, now watching a play on screen is also something that is happening, and we started it here at the NCPA.
Yeah.
We tied up with the National Theatre in London
Yeah.
and the Metropolitan Opera and the Bolshoi Ballet
Yeah.
to have screenings of their productions here, because
Yeah.
otherwise, how else are you going to see these? How many of us can go to London or New York or
Yeah.
Moscow to see these things? So
Yeah.
that is also happening, but it's not the same thing. If you could actually have a ballet performance here, or if you could actually have the opera, the Metropolitan Opera coming here, or an NT Live production, National Theatre production coming here, it
Yeah.
would be great. But it's not going to happen because of the finances involved and the logistics involved.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is happening, but still, I mean, to watch a play or to listen to an opera, you have to be there.
That's true. In fact, we also have a lot of collaborations with, I think the collaborations is what really works.
works, yeah.
That's the only way that one can actually finance these things.
Yeah.
So we had a dance theatre performance brought in by the Polish consulate.
Yes.
And it was quite raunchy, I would say. It was a little bit bold. And somehow we got away with it, because that's something else that we have to worry about, that, oh, well, you can't do this and you can't do that, and you can't talk about religion, and you can't talk about war, and you can't talk about subjects that
And
are
we are
taboo.
getting increasingly insensitive,
We are getting
intolerant
too
now,
intolerant about all
yeah.
these things. So that's another thing that is making things more difficult, is a kind of censorship. It's
No, I remember, because one of the plays that was kind of banned at the Kala Ghoda, or was not allowed to perform at the Kala Ghoda, actually performed at the NCPA. A play called Ali J.
That's exactly why we took it, because the
Yes.
gentleman said, I said, do you have a censorship? I mean, do you have a censorship thing or certificate? He said, then why? How would we have performed at the NCPA? So I really felt bad for them, but we had to cancel it.
Yeah, and it was a great performance,
And Jui said, what shall we do? And there were these calls back and forth, and the guys had already, they were on their way here. But there were people who were protesting, and I don't know how and why.
They thought it was.
And the cop said, there's no way you can do this play.
But if they wanted to, they could. At least for plays. Cinema you can't, because there are too many cinemas. But in a play you can. And there is another play I'll tell you about, called Shivaji Underground at Bhimnagar Mohalla. And that, because it talks about how Shivaji has been misappropriated by politicians, that was performed at the NCPA as well. And then word got out and people started protesting.
Yeah.
The cops, when the show happened at Saitya Sangh, there were cops standing outside and guarding the theatre.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to do that. You have to stand by what you believe in.
That's true, but that is again, people have paid for the ticket, and they're entering a private space, and they're doing it indoors. This is a public space where you cannot stop anybody from entering,
Yeah.
or so it was it's a very awkward thing, because they're giving you permissions on the basis that the play is free, all the theatre is free, and I don't know who makes these rules, the men or the women, but obviously it's something that really needs to be kind of, I don't know, as you said, everybody's getting a bit intolerant, whether it's the films, whether it's film censorship, or whether it's they accept some things which should not be accepted, and at the same time they don't accept what
No, but
I had a meeting today with the French consulate, and this lady who's designed this whole parade for the Kalagoda festival, and I had to tell her something so simple, or in a green costume, or in a particular religious, anything religious, because she had this costume where the women, you know, like Saraswati has her, or Lakshmi has her arms out, you know, different various things. I said, don't do that. Don't ever try and do anything like that, because if anybody stops you, it'll be an embarrassment.
Yeah.
So rather than go through that process, but I think it's so ridiculous, don't you?
It is completely, and a kind of self-censorship I can still understand, because a person, the artist, is making that decision for herself or himself.
Yeah.
But once the censor certificate has been obtained,
Yeah.
I don't think anybody has a right then to stop a performance.
Yeah, exactly.
But anybody who can gather 10 gundas can come and start, you know. doing
Anybody
this.
can do anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
So that's it's you know difficult. Just change topics a bit.
Okay.
Brinda, you started as an artist. So you have an art background.
Yes.
What is the art scene like?
Right now, the art scene is very dull. Again, as far as men and women ratio go, there are definitely more male artists. It's one of those fields where you know, there are more men than there are women, and but on the other hand, of course, there are a few women who are really doing quite well. And again, the gap is narrowing slowly.
A lot of galleries are run by women now.
Most of the galleries are run by women.
So again, this thing about women being better administrators comes in, I think.
I think it's more about the administration. It doesn't mean that women are not good artists. It's just that the men, I think, are more ambitious in a way. So they look at it as a career, whereas a lot of women, because you know they were, I mean, they studied art, but then they became housewives, and then they decided, okay, now I'm getting bored, let's start painting. Maybe that's one of the reasons where you know they don't take it so seriously. But say someone like me, I of course took it very seriously from the beginning, because that's how we are brought up. In my house, women are equal to the men, which is a great thing. My father's always loved his daughters. Maybe even a little more than he cares about his son, maybe slightly more. And he says it also openly. So I think from that point of view, we've got great support. Also, I'm married to somebody who supports me a lot regarding career or whatever I wish to pursue. But I'm one of those people who likes to do different things. So that's how I got into the organizing of the Kalagoda festival. And I think I get bored easily. That's one of the reasons why I took to doing something different. And I like to keep doing different things throughout my life. So anybody asks me to do something unusual, I mean, even if you say, come and help me at the NCP, I would happily do that. So
we have witnessed this, okay? The minute we finish this, you're stuck. You can't get away, okay?
Of course.
Yeah.
Anytime.
That would be great, because. But tell me, as an administrator, what challenges did you face?
As an administrator, I'd say I have faced a lot of challenges, and looking back, well, I'd say last year was last time, I won't say last year because it was this year, I think I had a really good time with the festival. I think it was the first time that I really enjoyed it. I've always enjoyed it, but I've enjoyed it after it's over. Because then you see you're getting accolades, you're getting, where people come up to you and say, oh, what a great job you did and all, but the working of the festival is very, very tough.
It's tough, yeah.
It's, almost 600 programs now. And maybe when you were there, it was like 300 programs.
I think it's 450 or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's been growing.
A whole bunch of volunteers who are also helping.
Now there are more people helping me, and they're
Yeah.
lovely people helping me. They're great people. People want to come forward and help. I remember going up on the stage and saying, who wants to help me? Please come and help me at the Kalagoda festival. And one hand would go up. And now, thanks to social media and the net, and you know,
Yeah.
these, I think these things
Also,
really help.
I think
Hopefully, somebody's watching and saying,
yeah,
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 right now.
no, also, college kids, I think if they want to get into certain courses like MBA and all that,
They look
for
at
them
it
that
as an internship.
experience,
They look at it as an
yeah,
internship, and they are so good. They're so enthused.
and they want a certificate at the end of it saying they participated in
Yes,
this,
which
because
we
it
give
helps.
them.
It helps in
There's
their.
no,
in
there's
their-
absolutely nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, that's
And we help them with that too, and they help us. And some of them just stay on. I mean, I have people who've been there for years. I met someone on the street, she's still with me. And she helps me with all the travel and the accommodation. And, you know, we become such good friends. And I didn't know her at all.
You know, people like this are the ones who bring a level of dedication to whatever they're doing, because they're not doing it as a career, or they're not doing it as a money making thing.
Yeah,
You know?
and at this, like I said, she has a day job with an NGO. She works the whole day, and then she comes in the evening when I need her, and she comes and she just puts everything together. So, like that, there are 30 people who do that. In the college kids, they're studying in college, they come after college, they help me. And they, in fact, even now they say, when is our work going to start? Tell us when to come. When is our next meeting? Because they really enjoy it. And the crowd is getting younger.
Crowd is getting.
The festival is getting younger in terms of the kind of audience we have. So it's become more exciting. Earlier, I think only old people used to come. Now, old people just can't come because there's no place to walk.
Yeah, and it's a little difficult also.
It's very
It's
difficult
so crowded that you
yeah,
get a
to
little-
negotiate
yeah.
that street, especially.
Yeah, it is.
The other
And even
venues
to
is
go
still
to the
okay.
venues, you have to queue up, and there are crowds and stuff, you know. So
That's right.
overcrowding is a problem.
But at the same time, it's very organized. It's
Yeah.
not that anybody is that having a hard time. Of course, we have to go through security and all those things because that's what the
That's
police insist.
inevitable now with that kind of.
The cops insist on those things, which is actually in a sort of blessing in disguise. And but it's a safe place to be, and women find it safe, children
Yeah.
find it safe. So it's a good thing. And like I said, now I finally feel that I'm happy doing it. But there have been times where I really have said I'm not going to do it next year, and then people laugh at me and said, "Oh, of course it's not. Of course you're not going to be there," and all that. And know fully well that I'm going to be there. But I'd be happy if somebody really wanted to take it over. It's not that I'm holding on to it. Anybody who really feels they can take it over, and who we feel as a committee,
As a committee.
not me, but as a committee, we have a very small committee who can, do the job and do justice to it and take it forward. We are most happy. Of course, the younger generation has to step in at some point.
Yes.
We can't be there forever
Yeah.
for that to happen. And there have been people who've come and gone and done things, but I've been a constant there. So.
You know, I have a team of 5 women working with me,
Yeah.
and I must say they are completely dedicated. I don't know if young men would be that dedicated.
Yeah.
And they live in the distant suburbs and all that, and I've never heard them complain saying, "Oh, program's going to get over at midnight. How will we get home?" You know, and what about the children? And what about this? What about they're just completely devoted to their work, and I think the kind of work we do
Yeah.
is also something that invites that.
I suppose
It's
so.
exciting, it's interesting,
exciting.
you
yeah.
meet a lot of
There's
people.
a sort of rush, an adrenaline
Yeah,
rush
yeah.
to be working in such a creative thing.
And at the end of it, if you feel that there's something good has come out of it, it's like a personal triumph.
Exactly.
That you've had a festival in which
I
in
tell
so
everyone,
many-
I tell everyone that I think I've got I should have an MBA, an honorary MBA by the end of it.
MBA, yeah.
Because I've learned so much, and being an artist, I've not interacted with people like I have at the
Yeah.
festival, because you're in your own little studio space you've gone from home, you finished your work at home, you've gone to the studio, you've done your little painting, gone back, you don't have staff, you don't have anybody to working for you, and then suddenly you have to deal with people and they talk about how much are they getting paid and how much what are they getting for lunch, because we are dealing with so many 50 people. Then you get a picture on your cell phone where they say, "Oh, look at this lunch we've got today, it's so bad," and all. So I am kind of responsible for even that, I feel sometimes. Or they say, we haven't got our chai this evening, and the speakers want chai, and this is a small section, maybe literature. who's called me and said, how can we get our chai? And then I feel like telling them that why do you ask me? But they know that they can call me, and I will have an answer, and I won't say anything, and I will guide them and tell them what is the right thing to do. So, in fact, jokingly they all call me mummy or something like that, because
I think another thing that women do well is delegate.
Absolutely
I
right.
give my team, whenever we're doing an event or a festival, I tell them this is what needs to be done and this is your responsibility, and come to me only if you have a problem.
Yeah.
So it gives them ownership of of the event or the festival that they're doing. That okay, this is my festival. I have to make sure it runs smoothly.
Yeah.
I think that's the sense of controlling that men have. I think women don't have. We're able to give up, this kind of delegation.
Yeah.
Because at home
Also,
you're doing
the
it all
other
the
thing,
time.
I think we know how to make decisions. I think women make very good decisions. Even if it's not a good decision, they make decisions, and they get it right the first time. I feel.
And mostly sympathetic, I think.
And people feel we are not working as hard, but honestly, I think it's because we get it right the first time. I find that a lot of men, they think that should we do it like this, should we do it like that, should it cost 5 rupees, should it cost 25 rupees, and then they discuss and they think, and whereas women, kind of, I think intuitively know what is the right thing to say or do at that point.
And I also think women are more sympathetic to problems. If somebody is having a problem, we won't say, well, you deal with it.
Yeah.
We'll try to find a
We'll
way
at
around
least listen
it.
to
Yeah,
it,
listen and try
then
to find a solution.
yeah, exactly. I think women are more sort of soft in that sense, and emotional and sensitive to people's problems. And
I would say it's just the opposite.
Yeah.
That they are tougher, so that they find solutions
they're
to
tougher,
things.
soft. I meant in terms of sensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely we are tougher because we are the ones who've raised the family, and when we are ill, I think nobody knows that we are sick. When men are sick, I think it's always. Of course, this is not about male bashing or anything,
Yeah,
but
that's true. And, there are lots of things that men do well, so there's no doubt about that. But we are talking of administration, the arts field, and
Yeah.
I think women have proved that that they do a good job of it.
Yes,
a better job
absolutely.
of it than
Yeah,
men.
I remember being unwell during one of the festivals throughout, and it was really unwell, but nobody knew. And when someone invited me to one of their plays or something, and I didn't go because I was really not feeling well, and I said, yeah, I'll try and come. And then they felt so bad. And then when I explained later that I wasn't well, she said, but you look perfectly fine to me. So it was, so I said, what do you expect me to do? I can't go around telling people I'm not well, and that's why I'm not doing this and not doing that. So I only do as much as I can, but so it's I think one of those things, whereas maybe all people are not the same, maybe all women are not the same also.
That's true. I also think women tend to treat workers in a more, their team in a more friendly kind of family fashion.
Yeah.
You would be concerned if they haven't had a meal, or you'd be worried about how they're going to get home, or if somebody says my kid is sick, you say, okay, just take a day off, we'll manage for you and stuff like that. I think it won't even occur to a man to find out this show is late and how the people are going to get home. The trains are
Oh yeah, absolutely. I go for movies with my team. I go just go on outside of the festival, or even during the festival we go out for lunch somewhere.
We celebrate birthdays.
We celebrate birthdays.
Like that.
I invite them over, and our meetings are so casual. They are like snacks are served, and because again I think women do tend to do that. They think about these things.
About food, yes.
About food.
Even if most of them are on a diet,
Yeah.
they like to feed people.
Exactly. So it's one of those things, I guess.
Yeah.
And what kind of hours do you keep here? Like you said, 24 hours.
It's
but
24
is it
hours,
all the
yeah.
time like this?
In the office, of course, when I'm here, I'm doing mostly admin work, like answering mails and planning things and all that. And but then there are a lot of meetings and stuff that I have to do. And in theatre, there are processes. There are readings and rehearsals and meetings with people, which I do. And most of them live in the suburbs. So sometimes I say, instead of all of you coming here, I'll come there.
You have to be there when the rehearsals are on, or when
For our production,
and the
yes.
performances
Not
themselves.
I'd like to. I prefer to do that.
You are there
I don't
for
have to
everything.
be, but I do. For our own productions, I take more interest. But even for things that I'm selecting for our festivals and all, for instance, I like to read the scripts or go for readings, meet people, and like I said, if it's a team of people working on a particular place, and instead of 10 of you coming here, I'll meet you that side of town. And I know how awful and difficult a commute in Bombay is.
And how many programs would you be having in a year, say? Would you be involved with?
Oh, a hell of a lot actually, because
Yeah.
about 50% of the programming of the NCPA is theatre.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
50%,
so,
yeah.
So that I'm involved with, and we do festivals. And about 3 years ago, we started our own productions. So it's a kind of broad-based,
So I'm just saying, would NCPA want to do theatre workshops at the
We do,
festival?
we do.
No, at the
at the
festival,
yeah,
we
of
could
course.
collaborate on
yes,
something.
Of course,
So,
we'd like to. Yeah.
so
That would be
it's just that everyone should look for collaborators. It's not that anybody needs it, but at the same time, it's a good thing because it kind of, it's like a cross-pollination of
That's true. And I think more and more we should be reaching out to children and young people
yeah.
with appreciation modules,
Yeah.
that they understand. So the children should come, or young people should come and see a performance with the idea that they will understand it. They otherwise say, "Oh, I don't understand music," or "I don't understand folk theatre," or "I don't understand."
Yeah.
So if you were to teach them, or at least make them understand what went into it,
Yeah.
what goes into it, they might come with a more open mind.
Yeah.
And once and like you said, once they're exposed to something, or once they come to something and like it, they become fans.
That's true.
So it's important to, I think, keep having the dialogue open at all
So
times.
again, now at the Kalagoda festival, we don't ask the children what they are interested in because it's just a queue system,
Yeah.
and it's mainly for. We do a lot of things for NGOs. We do have dedicated workshops for NGOs, and we do because it's a free
Yeah.
thing, and I think we have to do something for them also, and we also do a lot of. Workshops which are for the middle class. It's not necessarily only the elite who come there. And we have wonderful spaces.
Yeah, you do actually. You're
We
lucky
have
in
lovely
that way.
spaces. We have, of course, the Ornament Gardens, the circle, and we have in NGMA, and we have the MC Gia, or whatever's in that area we take. And we have the Prince of Wales Museum also,
Which is beautiful.
which is they're very, very helpful and give us the space for the children's workshop especially. So quite often I think, there are suggestions that we should have more theatre workshops or more...
yeah, we'd like to. And I think as part of the Kalagoda thing, maybe if you had some kind of contest, or that if you participate in this and if you win, you get to come to a performance at the NCPA or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I
That's
find
it's always an incentive, always makes it better.
when for young people, sometimes going into a cultural space is intimidating.
And
How
you'll
it's
be
gonna
surprised how
how's it-
many mothers come and
Yeah.
fight for their places, for the children, because they want them to be part of a workshop. But sometimes there's a limit to how many we can do or how many we can have. So also I feel the other thing to do is do it outside of our festival.
Yeah, and have a year-long activity.
Year-long
actually,
activity.
building
So
up to the festival.
Maybe we
That's
can
a
talk
good
about
idea.
that
We'll talk about
once
it. I
this
think
is
we
over.
have to.
Once this is over.
Okay. Yeah. So I think we are done. We talked a lot, and there's a lot more to talk, which will happen now off camera. So thank you, whoever is listening, watching.
And if anybody wants, we'll talk more
That is-
in another session.
Yeah, we should actually. Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice talking to you.
Bye.